Ted Cruz gave a speech at the Values Voter Summit, and he's going to go off the deep end here with his comments on Iran. Let's listen.
The single greatest national security threat facing America is the threat of a nuclear Iran. I got to tell you, I can't wait to stand on a debate stage next to Hillary Clinton. And to make very clear to the American people, if you vote for Hillary, you are voting for Iran to acquire nuclear weapons. And if you vote for me, under no circumstance will a nation led by a theocratic Ayatollah who chants death to America, under no circumstances will Iran be allowed to acquire nuclear weapons. And if the Ayatollah doesn't understand that, we may have to help introduce him to his 72 virgins.
All right, here's why I absolutely love this clip. Because it's a perfect example of how the Republicans are guilty of everything they accuse other people of doing. So, when a Republican or when anybody points out the fact that Iran, they have those chants sometimes, death to America and all that stuff, when they point out that that's fucked up, is there anybody who disagrees with that? Is there anybody in America or anywhere else who's like, you know, I agree, death to America, yeah! No, nobody agrees with that. We all go, I condemn that, that's stupid, that's counterproductive, that's, you go down the list, you could say evil, all that stuff is totally true and we're all against it. But what are intelligent people also against? Not just the saber-rattling and the dickishness on the other side, they're also against saber-rattling and dickishness on our side. But with the Republicans, total blind spot. So they're not allowed to say anything ever that's rude, mean, wrong, or against America. And you should agree with that, I agree with that, of course. But in the mind of Republicans and people like Ted Cruz, but we get to say whatever we want, and you cannot, under any circumstance, hold us to the same standard we hold you to, and call us out when we say things that are overtly violent. He just said, I want to introduce the Ayatollah to the 72 virgins. That's like, if somebody on the other side says, well, President Obama, maybe it's time for him to die, or something akin to that. Everybody in America, when somebody in Iran says that, and there have been people who do say that, or very similar things, we all get angry. Oh my God, fucking barbarians. Well, where are the calls of barbarians now when people on our side do the same kind of saber-rattling to them? Basically saying, I would kill the Ayatollah if you elect me. Republicans, where's your condemning of this? Again, I thought you were against violent rhetoric. It turns out you're only against violent rhetoric when it's on the other side. And this is the point, man. Any rational person is against death to America chants. Obviously. But why is it we get a chorus of people condemning that, but when Ted Cruz says this, fucking crickets? How about when Duncan Hunter, a Republican congressman, muses out loud on C-SPAN, we should nuke Iran. I'm in favor of nuking Iran. Did anybody come out and say, wait. It's not a false equivalence to say that's like the rhetoric coming out of Iran about the U.S. It is an actual equivalence. They say death to America, death to America. A congressman here says, I want to nuke you. That's not a false equivalence. That's an actual equivalence. Sheldon Adelson, same thing, big money donor. Said, we should nuke them to show them we mean business. John McCain singing Bomb Bomb Iran. Remember that? Louis Gohmert on radio shows musing out loud all the time. I would bomb them. I would bomb them now. Even though they agreed to the peace deal, I would bomb them. Why is it you don't hear almost anybody, unfortunately even liberals and Democrats, nobody's making this argument I'm making. Nobody's making this argument. Why are you not against violent rhetoric and dickishness on both sides? Because you're not actually against violence. You're only against it when it's the other guy. When it's us, well, we're not held to the same standard. We're America. Hello? So you get to talk all day long, oh, Iran, violent state sponsor of terrorism. But if anybody in Iran calls America a terrorist country for invading a country that didn't attack us and staying there over 10 years and killing at least 200,000 civilians, are they allowed to call us a terrorist nation for that? Shh. You overlooked that. We meant well. That, doesn't count. Did we mean well when we did CIA torture? Anally raped inmates? at Guantanamo? Does that not count either? Does it count when we did hypothermia torture threw cold water on somebody in a cell at Gitmo, walked out, came there in the morning, and he was dead? Did we mean well then? And by the way, that guy was innocent. But did we still mean well? I'm just curious. I'm just asking questions. See, when we do it, shut the fuck up. You cannot criticize it. When they do it, El Chorus, criticism all day long. Criticism, criticism, criticism. And the most important thing, guys, is that what Ted Cruz is saying there is not true. It's not true when he says, well, a nuclear Iran is the single greatest threat to America. That's not true. There's the same playbook they said for Iraq. Saddam has nukes. Number one, he didn't. But even if he did, is anybody out there today really stupid enough to think he was going to press the button and kill us all? He wouldn't have done it. Why? He was a bad guy, of course, but he wasn't suicidal. He wasn't going to kill himself. He knows if he presses that button, he dies immediately. Same thing with Iran. I hate the Iranian regime. They're not suicidal. They're just not. They're not the equivalent of ISIS, and if you think they are, you don't know dick. In fact, they're fighting ISIS right now. Again, they don't care about the nuance. He said a vote for Hillary is a vote for giving Iran nukes. Hillary has come out and said, I support this deal. That's what she said. Ted, read the motherfucking deal, you dipshit. Read the deal. Read the deal. Don't just talk about the deal. Read the deal before you talk about the deal. What does the deal say? It says Iran is not going to get nukes. They're not going to get nukes. Need I repeat myself? They're not going to get nukes. Now, you could say, I don't believe them, but the deal is not based on whether or not you believe them. It's not on trust. It's on verification. We have this thing called the IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Agency. They're a body of the UN. They go in there and they live up the ass of the Iranian government, and they can check all the different facilities. So it doesn't matter if you believe them or not. It's based on verification. This deal does the opposite of what you think it does. He just said they're going to get nukes now, but they're not. The deal says the opposite, so you're just making it up. And therein lies the problem of a guy like Ted Cruz, is that he doesn't know what he's talking about, and he's the dangerous one. And remember, guys, Iran doesn't have the capacity to do the fucked up shit they say. Death to America. Good fucking luck. You can't bring death to Toledo with your tiny-ass military. And I'm not saying that to be like, oh, we're great. I'm just saying that as a fact. Their military is nothing. It's nothing. So they say death to America, our response should be, but on the flip side, when we threaten them, should they be scared? Oh, yes, they should. Because you know that the Republican Party in this country, if they get power, you think some of them wouldn't hesitate to do some sort of a military strike against Iran? You don't know anything. We invaded Iraq, and they didn't have weapons of mass destruction, and they weren't threatening us. And we stayed there for over a decade. Never mind the drone campaign elsewhere, never mind Afghanistan. So they should be scared. They should be scared. We have no reason to be scared. But there you have Ted Cruz, the guy who admits he wants a theocracy because he wants to implement Christian law. And, oh, Kim Davis shouldn't have to follow the law on gay marriage. A guy who's on the record as believing in basically Christian Sharia, bitching and whining about the theocratic Ayatollah in Iran. I don't like that theocratic Ayatollah, but I also don't like you because you don't want to be president. You want to be theocratic Ayatollah, and you're very, very violent in your own right, even though you don't realize it.